I tell young students in high school, if you're not going to be good at numbers, you had better be good at letters. And if you're not good at either of those, you better be good at sports. You have to be able to do something. I was not in a camp that was particularly fond of numbers. Go figure. So I did letters instead. But even so, I was not always excited in my high school days, and even some of my college days, even though that changed over, about essay writing. It seemed to me that the problem with essay writing, especially in high school, was there were so many formalities. There wasn't a lot of room for creativity. There's a lot of just arbitrary things that I had to do, and I just couldn't seem to figure out all the rules that they wanted. They being those teachers. Yes, they were out to get me in my essay. There is more than one kind of essay. There are two kinds. There's actually a lot of different kinds, but two major categories that we're focusing on today. The academic essay and the literary essay. The academic essay is that sort of 5-paragraph one that you learned when you were in 4th, 5th grade. Introduction, conclusion, directly stated thesis statement, a number of supports written in MLA or Chicago style, or if you're into science, APA style, or whatever they're trying out these days, whatever's in the launching field. Academic essays tend to discourage things like direct address of the second person, tend to discourage things like acknowledging the existence of the author, using words like I. Literary essays, on the other hand, are quite different. They are able to take new and different forms. They're able to be looser. They're able to have that wonderful direct address. You love the direct address. One writer that you might not have expected that I like is the best-selling Electronica musician, Moby. Moby is a social consciousness, and one way that he has chosen to express it is in the CD notes. 2 of his albums, Play and Everything Is Wrong, contain a number of essays that are written by Moby on the inside on the CD notes. By everything is wrong, I mean everything. I look around me. I'm typing on a plastic and metal and glass computer perched on a desk made from cut down trees and toxic paint. I sit in a building made of wood and bricks that were taken from the earth on a street made out of poisonous asphalt that was laid out over an ecosystem that had thrived for hundreds of thousands of years. I'm clothed in cotton, which was saturated with pesticides while it was grown and treated and dyed with toxic chemicals while it was being processed. All of my possessions were made hundreds or thousands of miles away and shipped by styrofoam and plastic wrapped via gas-burning engines and destructive roads and airways to me. What I advocate is sensible, pragmatic, and non-destructive approaches towards existence. We need to reevaluate our practices, just as it doesn't make any sense to hire an elevator operator to run an automatic elevator. It doesn't make sense for billions of people to drive to work alone in their cars. It doesn't make sense to consume animal products. It doesn't make sense to use pesticides in agricultural products. It doesn't make sense to derive power from nuclear, coal, and petroleum when we have solar, hydro, and wind power. It doesn't make sense to maintain destructive systems just because people earn their livings from them. I advocate change. Massive, massive change. Basically, we should stop doing these things that are destructive to the environment, other creatures, and ourselves, and figure out a new way of existing. That's it. Wow. We're going to listen to a piece of electronica, a piece of music that usually we're getting up there just going like... We're thinking about religion. We're thinking about what it is we're putting in our mouths. We're thinking about the effects of globalism. We're thinking about factory farms. We're thinking about the prison industrial complex. Moby wants us to, at least. But a lot of people have attacked Moby for the supposed pretentiousness of trying to put these socially conscious essays on his album. Moby even makes light of that in right before the essays start on the Play album, saying, here's some essays that don't really have anything to do with the music. You may love the music but hate the essays. You might love the essays but hate the music. Or some strange chance you might like both. I think maybe there's a desire to dislike Moby's essays because instead of painting some bad guy as being the root of all the problems in our society, Moby suggests that maybe it's us. We need to change as a collective. That's right, there's not a sense of anger in these essays. Moby rebukes injustice against all. He doesn't need to name specific people or bad guys. So Moby writes a great, direct piece of cultural criticism. Why do we immediately turn to criticize him in his person? That's just not even fair. Look at the points that he brings up in his essay, Facts. If these really are facts, which I do suspect they are, we can't criticize the fact that Moby wrote them. That's just unfair. Facts are objective. There is a story that somebody asked Elvis, what do you think about the Vietnam War? To which Elvis responded, ma'am, I am just an entertainer, and didn't answer the question. But what would make him less qualified to respond to what the Vietnam War was about? What? You have to be some decorated military personnel to have an opinion? We all suffer. We all feel pain. We all hurt. We all recognize what is going on around us. No, Moby isn't just as much of a position to make these statements. And if anything, I think he's perhaps more qualified too. Art changes the world. Writing changes the world. Nonfiction can change the world. Creative nonfiction can change the world. And even if it doesn't change the world, it changes you. And you're a part of this world.